Hello students, how are you all doing? So we're going to start our governance session. So this is part 1. In the part 1 we'll cover incentives and the initiatives and the programs. In the part 2 we'll cover the rest of the component of the governance section, right? Right, so let's start our initiatives and program. The first one we're going to discuss is equip project. So equip project becomes important because from the name itself it is not very clear what it is about, right? I always given it the hint, so always focus on the schemes and the programs from the name itself it is not clear what they are up for. So equip full form is education quality upgradation and inclusion program. Again, from the full form it is not clear. It is for the secondary like secondary education or higher education or primary education. So equip project is for the higher education purposes, right? So the idea is to bridge the gap between the policy and implementation, accessibility, excellence, employability and all these things. Ministry is MHRD obviously, right? So they are infusing a lot of money, 1.5 lakh crores for the equip program. So the overall idea is to double the gross enrollment ratio, the normal generic things. Now to be honest, these things are not important for prelims because we just need to know things. We don't have to cram things. We just need to know that equip program is for the higher education by Ministry of MHRD and what it intends to do, right? So very easy. Promote India as a global study destination, excellence, employment, expansion, right? So these are the things. Equity. So these are 4 E's of the higher educations of India. You can use this in the mains examination. So all the idea is around that only, right? Okay. So let's move to the next topic, that is Atal Tinkering Lab Marathon. So we have discussed a lot about Atal Innovation Mission and things. So this particular marathon is under the Atal Tinkering Lab. Okay, Atal Tinkering Labs of the Atal Innovation Mission are doing this. So Tinkering Lab, sorry, it is related to the students, right? So tinkering labs are present in the schools. So it is aimed to identify the best student innovators. It will be a 6-month long challenge about the thematic areas, 6 thematic areas. Don't need to remember the thematic areas because they'll be very generic in nature: agriculture, water, health, education, smart clean energy and all this. All the students below the age of 18 are eligible for this particular scheme. Okay, so this is Atal Tinkering Lab Marathon. Quickly, mission Parivar Vikas, very important mission, not in a current affair. I'll say why they remain in current affair. Again, just to reiterate, many of the things of the governance you will read, they may not be in the current affairs. For example, they may not be launched in that particular month. However, they always being in news each and every time, and that is why we have to read government schemes, government program very holistically, and that is why we are spending every month around 1 hour or 1.5 hours on the government part only, right? So it has been launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, right? So the focus is on the family planning, and it is focusing on the very areas where the very improvement in the family planning is very intensively required. So around 145 district in the 7 states, which is covering 28% of the population. Okay, so the intensive program similar on the lines of the Aspirational India program. So Aspirational India program are covering those areas only where the very low HDI is there, Human Development Index. Similarly, Mission Parivar Vikas is focusing on the states or focusing on the districts or focusing on the areas in which very high fertility rate is there. Okay, so 145 districts are contributing to the 28% of the India's population. So the focus on 7 high focus areas of, obviously it will not be, they will not be including Kerala and all these things, right? Where the fertility rate is on decline. So which are the states they will be covering? UP, Bihar. So if Bihar is there, then Jharkhand is there. If MP is there, then Chhattisgarh is there. So 4 states like that. Plus UP, always remember. Along with that, Rajasthan, right? And Assam. So Assam you need to remember. Assam is a anomaly here. So remember, Assam is also there. So what they will provide? 5-prong strategy is there. Very easy, assured services, promotional schemes and all this. What is important in the Mission Parivar Vikas, what we need to remember is this, the 3 initiatives, especially they are initiative for the awareness generation. So first is Nai Pahal. So they will give some family planning kit to the newlyweds. So the newlyweds and Asha workers will be there to help them, right? Then Saas Bahu Sammelan. Again, awareness initiative or persuasion initiative. So encouraging young mother married women and their mother-in-laws to freely discuss the family matters. Then Sarthi, so they'll provide a mobile van offering information and service at the doorstep. So a lot of focus on the IC behavioral change, right, and information communication. So these are the key initiatives under Mission Parivar Vikas. So yeah, so target is by 2025, and the ministry is saying that we will reach up to 2.1 level of fertility rate by 2025, right. Next is so basically you can like compare this with the earlier forced sterilization that India experienced during the emergency time, right. Okay, let's coming back to the topic. Silver Line project. So Silver Line project is, again this becomes important because the name does not indicate what it is for. So Silver Line project is in the Kerala. Say they are trying for the semi high speed trains in by Ministry of Railways. So they'll be connecting the two extreme, that is Thiruvananthapuram and the Kasargod district. If you remember, very famous, like it was famous for two many things. So generally it comes in the news in the national media because of the many of the youth from Kasargod went to ISIS. Many of the area of Kasargod is infected now with the left wing extremism as well. Okay, apart from the other things there must be things, but these things highlight in the national news. So earlier it used to take a lot of time to travel from Thiruvananthapuram to Kasargod. Now it will be they will try to reduce the travel time. So earlier it was 12 to 14 hours. Now it is around 4 to 5 hours. They will try to achieve with the Silver Line project. Next is National Broadband Mission. So National Broadband Mission is Ministry of Communication. Okay, not METI. Remember, not Ministry of Communication, not METI. The mission will facilitate what? Obviously mission, National Broadband Mission. So what will be the idea? To provide broadband for all. Okay, so the idea is to increase the tower density. Apart from the other targets which are more or less generic in nature, this is very specific target. So to increase the tower density from 4.2 to 1 tower per 1,000 population by 2024. Okay, the idea is to provide 30 lakh kilometer route of optical fiber cable and increase the tower density. So currently, for example, Airtel is providing in many of the urban areas in the optical fiber cable, internet through optical fiber cable. Okay, so yes, so they want to increase the fiberization to 30% to the 70%. Along with that, many things such as we have discussed that broadband readiness index, if you remember. So we have discussed that broadband readiness index. So they within this mission they also want to include this broadband access that we have discussed, right. They have talked about getting the investment up to $100 billion. Okay, including $70,000 from the Universal Service Obligation Fund. We have also discussed this particular fund also. Remember, so previously in the governance section we have already discussed this fund. So if you want to see all the funds, go to the governance portion, go to the funds, and you can see the funds itself, right. At the end of the current affairs by 10th of May, as we have discussed already, I'll provide you the compilations as well, right. Okay, so this is broadband readiness index that we already discussed. So currently it is not being released, it is being planned. Okay, right. Next is Digital India Land Record Modernization Program. So it's an old program, 2008, under Ministry of Rural Development. It was launched to digitalize all the land records. One of the problem in the land reforms in India is because of the lack of proper land records itself. So lack of land record had led to poor land reforms, someone can say. So the idea was to digitalize all the records. Now major components were obviously computerization of land records, survey, resurvey, and registration. Unit of implementation would be the district. Earlier also under which ministry it is there, you need to remember Ministry of Rural Development, and within Ministry of Rural Development there is a Department of Land Resources. So under Department of Land Resources this particular program is there, right. So earlier the name of this particular program was the National Land Record Modernization Program. Now it came under the Digital India mission, and finally the name became Digital India Land Record Modernization Program. So after Digital India program launched in 2014-15, so after Digital India program it became a the thrust was given to this program, right? So in many of the states, they have achieved 99% digitalization. For example, Tripura, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, they have achieved this. But in many of the states, it is not there very well. For example, in so many of the states such as Kerala, it is lagging behind in the digitalization of the land records. Right. What are the benefits of digitalization? So we don't have to learn a lot because that's the main stuff. Obviously, we know it's a very generic concept. So there will be clarity over the ownership. The many of the land disputes will be reduced. So overall burden on judiciary will increase. Ease of justice will increase, and all these small things. Okay. Right. Next is Fit India school grading system. So we already discussed Fit India program, remember? So under which program, now a different thing is there. Fit India, from the name itself, very clear, not important for prelims. Because from the name itself, it becomes clear. Fit India grading system. So it will grade the school across the country with respect to which school has done with respect to providing infrastructure and the ecosystem for student to remain fit. So they will divide the schools into 3 categories: first star, second star, 3-star, 1 star, 3-star, and 5-star. Okay, how much importance school gives to the inculcating fitness among the students and the teachers. Okay, so PM Modi launches the Fit India school grading system. So Fit India movement, we have already discussed that, launched on the National Sports Day. Very big speech was given by the Prime Minister. Right, so next is Sankalp and Strive. So 2 of the scheme that were launched way back, I think 1 to 2 years back it was launched, but always they remain in the news. So you have to remember the difference between Sankalp and the Strive. Okay, so starting with the Sankalp, both are the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So first of all, Sankalp is a centrally sponsored scheme. So all the funds will not be given by the center. On the other hand, Strive is a central sector scheme. So all the funds for this will be given by the central government. Sankalp scheme is basically for the making an institutional mechanism. So Sankalp scheme focuses mainly on the institutional mechanism for the skill development. Okay, and providing market relevant training. So around that idea is to provide the training to 3.5 crore youth. Okay, so it is more focused on the institution making, governance, and regulation. Means more generic in nature. So center state collaboration is there, whereas Strive scheme is focused on the industrial value chain enhancement. The full form is this only. Sankalp also has the full form. So Strive full form is skill strengthening for the industrial value enhancement by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So awareness through industry cluster integrating enhancing delivery units of ITIs. Okay, so it is World Bank supported and a central sector scheme. Okay, so these 2 things you need to remember. So these are the 2 schemes which actually they were launched simultaneously, and it was last year, right? But they can be asked in the coming years also, coming this prelims as well, because they always remain in news. Currently something they'll always be, because skilling is really important, right? Skill India mission, because we'll discuss Skill India, not Skill India, but we'll discuss Kaushal Vikas in the next video itself. Okay, next is Future Skill Initiative. Again, you see skill. So Future Skill Initiative is by the Ministry of Electronics and the NASCOM. This one is important. So launched in 2018, the idea is to reskill the IT industry. So the people working in the IT industry needs to be reskilled for the future skills. Future skills such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, cyber security, data science, because data science is becoming a huge field, right? Big data and all this. So reskilling or upskilling of the workforce working in the IT sector. Okay, so it is also extended as the prime to industry professional across the different segment, higher education students and the government officials. So earlier it was future skill was focused on the IT sector professionals only. Now with the prime, it has been extended to other people as well. Okay, so the idea is to provide India digital talent stack. Next is a future, that is the thing, future skills prime. So what it will be under the same ministry, the same institute, NASCOM and the Ministry of Information and IT. Okay, so the idea is to provide a skill passport. Okay, so the skill passport will have the documentation of the competencies required by the learner, right? And they will provide a skill wallet, different concepts. So it will have the opportunity to get up to 12,000 from the government of India as an incentive upon certification. So incentive based model they will provide so that they can be skill oriented in the for the future skills. Remember, we have discussed one World Economic Forum report, Future of Work report, in which it is said majority of the jobs and 54% of the jobs will be changed. It will be changing their structural behavior as we move forward because of the automation, artificial intelligence, all these things. Remember, so please revise that. All right. Okay. So the data centers will be kept in India, not very important for us. What you need to remember with respect to future skills program, first of all, it is oriented towards the IT sector, which is the ministry and the institution involved, right? And what they want to achieve. Okay. Next is integrated development of the wildlife habitat. So it's a centrally sponsored umbrella scheme. So umbrella scheme, earlier the schemes were there, now they're put under the one scheme, similar to the schemes where that we discussed. Remember Sampada scheme that we have discussed, similar to that. Okay, so they're providing umbrella schemes under which all the relevant schemes will be put. For example, Project Tiger, development of the wildlife habitat, Project Elephant. So overall, what will be done? There will be strengthening and the consolidation of the schemes, right? More convergence will give the idea of the accountability. More concentrated accountability will be there. It will help to address the man-animal conflict well. Okay, right. So that was that is integrated development of the wildlife habitats. I just want to mention one more thing. Many of the schemes I've just mentioned many times. Many of the schemes or in the polity or in the economy, you will see many of the concepts not of particular month, or many of the things of that particular month are not covered in that particular month, but obviously they'll be covered somewhere down the line. Okay, for example, you can see this tweet from October, but we're covering it in the December month, right? So this is the overall this integrated development of the wildlife habitat things. Many of the commonsensical things, for example, planning and the capacity of building, anti-poaching, infrastructure development. I'm not discussing those because these are like understood. Very common sense. Common sense is required to take these things, right? Okay, so this scheme was extended beyond 12th five-year plan period. That is why it was in the news, right? So the objective and the what will be given, again, it's very easy. So critical endangered species and habitat for them, it will be more focused. Next is Northeast Rural Livelihood Project. So this project is basically from the name itself, now for the Northeast and under the Ministry of the Donor. Ministry of Donor that was formed after the first Modi government, right? So World Bank aided multi-state livelihood project under the Ministry of Donor launched in 2012 to improve. What is the objective? Obviously to improve the rural livelihood, making infrastructure, livelihood creation in the northeast area. What you need to remember that it was active in the 4th northeastern states, not all the states. So the states are Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura. Okay, so starting from the Sikkim, Tripura, Mizoram and Nagaland. Okay, Mizoram, sorry, here and Nagaland there. Right. So what were the different approaches? So with respect to this particular Northeast livelihood project, so the same things again, that is why I have not mentioned in the words, because these are very generic things. So how will be they creating livelihood opportunities through community based institutions, right? So the idea of SHG, self-help groups, building blocks of the women empowerment, youth groups will be there, producer organization for you must have heard of farmers producer organization. So giving the collective strength to the people by which they will be providing livelihood opportunities to the people. Next, International Day for the Person with Disability. So this day is celebrated on 3rd of December every year. Okay, so instituted by 1992, not very important for us. This scheme is relevant. That scheme was launched in 2016 under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Okay, under the Department of the Empowerment of the Person with Disability. The campaign was to make a barrier-free and conducive environment for Divyangjans. So Mr. Modi has introduced a new word for the differently abled, that is Divyangjans. Many of the activists have the problem with this word, but let's go ahead with the controversy. Let's go beyond the controversy. right? So the idea is the Accessible India campaign. The idea is to it was in the alignment with the Article 9 of the United Convention that we have signed, United Nations Convention on the Right of the Person with Disability. Okay, so we have amended our act also. So India signatory in 2007. So they talk about physical accessibility, digital accessibility, transportational accessibility, and all these things. Okay. So why it was in the news? Because Minister of the targets have been missed. So they have decided some targets, some deadlines. So by that time, your different infrastructure, for example, train tracks, railway stations, sorry, or all the government offices should be accessible, Divyangjan friendly, but they have been missed out. So now the ministry has extended the deadline, and secondly, they are roping in the private players to extend the reach of the Accessible India campaign. So this is that. So this are discussing, right? The target miss accessible campaign deadline extended. One more thing, the ministry has launched the MIS, that is Management Information System for the Accessible India campaign. So what it will do? Some sort of dashboard like thing. So on which all the information on the very on the live information will be shared on this, right? So it aims to bring together all the nodal ministry, state, union territory on the common platform to monitor the progress against the target for the Accessible India campaign. Okay, so next topic is National Digital Health Blueprint. So we have discussed that because we have discussed one committee with respect to it. So what is this National Digital Health Blueprint? So idea is to provide a national digital health ecosystem. So overall, putting our healthcare system, everything in our healthcare system in a digital format. So what will be the benefits? The obviously benefits will be for everyone. For patients, it will be beneficial because all their data will be, there will be one way they can access all the data, so that they don't have to go for multiple diagnostics. For the doctors, it will be easy to remember what they have prescribed or what the other doctors have prescribed. Then for the government itself, it will be so easy to track the overall progress of an individual. For example, especially if he's seeking the government benefits, it is easy for the government to, for the implementation of schemes like Ayushman Bharat. It is very relevant for the government and for the citizen, everyone, so that we can move to the preventive health care, right? If you can see in a particular area people are suffering from a particular disease, we can get some wellness center to equip with that particular disease in that area. So these are the benefits of digitalization. Again, these things are for the main centric. Let us discuss for the what is relevant for the prelims. So again, they'll be using some frontier technology like artificial intelligence. So they will be the building blocks for the implementation of the national health stack. Okay, so what is national health stack? We'll discuss that. Okay, so that is there, that is all written here only. Okay, so it will improve the quality, the quantity of the healthcare. Okay, so we have discussed this Satyanarayan committee, J Satyanarayan committee, we have discussed already in the October month current affairs. So he has submitted the report for the National Digital Health Blueprint to the Ministry of Health, which will lay the foundation of the national health stack. So what is national health stack again? National health stack is the digital infrastructure. I was talking about the digital, how it will be benefiting. So the overall infrastructure that will be built, which will lead to those benefit, is the national health stack. Okay, so it will be used by the both center and the state. So the idea of collaborative federalism or the cooperative federalism is there. So used by central and state and the private sector. So designed to build a holistic view across the multiple health verticals, right? So providing different solutions for the healthcare that we've already discussed. So this is the main idea. I've taken it right from the government website only. So national health stack will be the foundational on which the other things such as e-hospital, health and wellness center, right, other health apps, all these things will be built. In fact, skilling of the doctors and the professionals will be done having these technology and the digital infrastructure. On the basis of the health stack, the idea of the Jan Dhan Aadhar mobile. So basic technology is Jan Dhan Aadhar mobile. We have done that. So now we are moving towards this idea of national health stack, national India stack, and all these things. Okay, so we are done with our discussion. Now quickly we'll revise that we are doing in our this particular month. From this month we are starting that. So quickly, so we started with the equip project. Equip project is for the higher education, right? For the higher education, Ministry of MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource Development. Second, Atal Tinkering Lab Marathon, Atal Innovation Mission for the students below the age of 18 years old. That's Mission Parivar Vikas. So 7 states, among those 7 states, specific districts, not in the whole state. Then Silver Line project in the Kerala, high speed semi high speed trains, Thiruvananthapuram to Kasargod. Next, National Broadband Mission. So Broadband Mission, Ministry of Communication. We have discussed BRI also. Broadband Readiness Index will be launched under this particular mission. Then Digital India Land Record Modernization Program under Ministry of Rural Development. Now then, how the name has changed. We will discuss many of the land reforms initiatives and the land record digitalization initiatives in our part 2 of our discussion. Next part we will discuss many of the initiatives such as Bhumi initiative of Karnataka government, like that. Next is a Fit India grading school system. So it is under the Fit India program. Sankalp and Strive, already discussed the difference between those two. Then Future Skills and Future Prime, umbrella scheme of national integrated development of the wildlife habitat for providing a convergence framework. Then Northeast Rural Livelihood Project. Then Accessible India campaign, and finally we ended with the National Blue Health Print and the National Health Stack. National Health Stack, please remember, again I'll say this is more relevant for mains, but again National Health Stack question can be asked in a very simple format, and they can ask you the name of the committee associated as well. Okay, so it will become part of a big one question with different parts, addressing different parts of the same question, right? So with this we finish our discussion. Part 1 is done. In the part 2 we'll be discussing some of the state government initiatives, some of the apps portals and all this. In the second part we'll be discussing some institutions and some flagship schemes. Okay, I just forgot. And the third part we'll be discussing some state government initiatives and all these things. Okay, so I hope you are doing well. Please tell me in the comment box what additional things you are needing, so that I can incorporate those in the later on videos. But we are trying to finish everything comprehensively, right? So see you in the next class. Thank you everyone.